Hello, welcome to the Sean Show, Season 2, Episode 19, talking about Week 17 of NFL football. That's right, let's get straight into it. Alright, so, for those of you who are new, this season we created a model around preseason Week 2. We guessed every game, and we predicted the playoff spots. These are the results for the Sims Week 16, as you can see on the screen. Went 7-9, pick rate of 43.8. So, yeah, interesting one there. Obviously we thought things would go different. Patriots not picked against the Ravens there. It's an interesting one. And then just a couple of dropouts like the Rams, the Phillies, the Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all losing their games earlier in the week, but let's move on. Let us move on. The playoff picture. So we had some games. We had some Christmas games, and then we had a Boxing Day game. And then we had 2 games today, actually. So some games have already been played, so the playoff picture looks a little different to the between 16 and week 17, and this is what we've got. Wildcard slots are locked out for both sides. Only 2 positions, or at least 2 teams, are in the running for a position in the playoffs for each conference. Let's go over it. As you can see on the AFC side, we've got those little icons. Those little icons there are basically last week's position. So as you can see, 1 through 4 has stayed relatively the same this week, but 5 through 7 did shift around as we currently look at it. So AFC number 1 contender right now is the Denver Broncos. They are the only team there to have clinched their division as well. So they're riding high. I do believe they did win their game against the Chiefs as well, so they are just waiting for the Patriots to see if they win their game, and then it will be dependent on next week, but I'm pretty sure Broncos have the head-to-head. So yeah, we'll see what happens this week. Then 5 through 7, obviously things changed. The Texans beat the Chargers, which means the Chargers drop down to 7th, and the Bills move up 1 spot. And then the only last thing to be decided in the AFC is whether the Steelers or the Ravens will get through. Packers lost to the Ravens today, keeping their hopes alive. I don't know what the scenario is if the Steelers win today. Win this week, sorry. But we'll find out. Anyway, moving over to the NFC side of things, 1 through 3 has stayed unchanged. The Bears have clinched their division, and the Eagles have clinched their division. The NFC West is going absolutely crazy with the Seahawks, the Niners, and the Rams all still in contention for that number 1 spot in the NFC West, which will ultimately probably determine if they're going to be the number 1 seed in total. But the Bears still have hopes for that number 1 seed, so things could shift by the end of the season. And then again, the only division that is not wrapped up is the NFC South, with Carolina Panthers currently sitting ahead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And both of them still need to play. The Panthers do need to play the Seahawks this week, so that's going to be a tough matchup for them. And the Buccaneers are taking on the eliminated and the tourless Dolphins. So there's a likely chance that this does shift again this week. But, you know, both teams could lose. Both teams could win. Let's be positive. Now, as you can see, on the 5 through 7, there was a little bit of a shake-up there. The Bears and the Niners play this week, I believe. So that's going to be a bit of a juggernaut game. That's going to be a nice playoff preview for 2 playoff teams. Now, at the bottom, we've got all the teams eliminated except for those 2 up the top, the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. currently as it sits, the New York Giants do have the first pick in the NFL draft. I'm not sure how Tennessee is third, but they seemingly are. And the Raiders have the second pick. Now this could change, obviously. Raiders versus Giants this week is going to possibly upset things. And then we'll see in 2 weeks what happens to the NFL draft positions, and we'll calculate it out for you guys probably after everybody else does, but we'll do our own calculations. Anyway, that's the playoff picture right now. Playoffs is going to be really good. There's a lot of teams there that are not usually in the playoffs, so it's exciting to see. It really is. NFL is really competitive right now. So let's move over back to the simulation, and we're going to talk about this week's sim picks and how it went over the Christmas games. So there were 3 games on Christmas. It picked the Washington Commanders for some reason. Obviously, it was riding high off last season's Daniel Jones, not Daniel Jones, jeez, whatever. Their quarterback, riding high off him. That has not been the case. Jaden Daniels has taken a few injuries this season. The Lions losing to the Minnesota Vikings on Christmas. The offense was absolutely horrendous for the Lions. Hey, I'm not saying that the offense for the Minnesota Vikings was very good. I think they had -7 pass yards and 77 rush yards. In total, I'm talking. But just every time that the Lions touched the balls offensively, there was a turnover, there was a fumble, there was something that went wrong, which essentially eliminated them from the playoffs. Merry Christmas, Packer fans. That secured us into the wild card. Now, a big Christmas game was the Denver Broncos versus the Chiefs. No Patrick Mahomes. Denver absolutely slapped that game shut. Then we've got the Houston Texans. They played, I think it was today. Can't remember. It's been a long time since Christmas. They did beat the Chargers, and the Baltimore Ravens kept their hopes alive by beating the Green Bay Packers. For the rest of the week, the Sim has picked the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the Browns. I disagree with those last 2 picks. I also disagree with the Colts. It's picked the Bucks. It's picked the Jets, which I definitely disagree with. It's picked the Tennessee Titans. It's picked the Raiders, the Philly Eagles, and the Niners for Sunday. And then on Monday Night Football, for some reason, the Sim thought that Matt Stafford was going to hurt his back and be out for the whole season. He is not. He is there. He is strong. Atlanta probably doesn't win that game. It is 10-7 on Thursday Night Football, and we're counting the Denver versus KC games as the Thursday Night Football game. The season record for the Sim is 128-116, which is better than some experts out there who have been able to make their picks on a weekly basis. And remember, this thing was made in preseason week 2. Next season, I'm not sure if I'll do a sim. I definitely will not be running against the spread, but we will be tracking my live picks every single week. And we'll be stacking up against the so-called experts on those big channels. Next, we have the season pick rate was 52.5, so above 500 as a Nostradamus shot. Pretty good. We'll see how the last 2 weeks turn out. Next, we've got the against the spread section. I think I am unable to get 500 this season with against the spread. We flubbed it a week ago where we went like 2-11 or something, and it really screwed up our chances. I think even if I went perfect, I might just make it, but I'm not going to go perfect, guys. So I'm conceding this one. Week 17, eliminated from contention of 500. Not officially, but morally. Let's go with the against the spread. So there's your scores for the 5 games that have already been played. I don't need to go over them. Now we've got the Seattle Seahawks vying for the number 1 seed in the AFC and for the NFC West. And then we have the Carolina Panthers trying to keep their hopes alive, trying to keep those Tampa Bay Bucks at bay, being one game ahead of them. I don't know what their head-to-head is like, so I can't tell you that tonight. But I can tell you that I am going with the Seahawks 7.5 points here. They're just defensively so strong, and I know some teams have been able to put up points against them. The Indianapolis Colts last week was able to hold them to 16 points, and this is a playoff team, the Carolina Panthers. I think 7.5 probably is a lot of points. I probably don't think it's enough points. I've got the Seahawks here. Then we've got the Bengals, Joey Burrows hosting the Arizona Cardinals. I've got the Bengals here, 6.5 points. I think the wheels are falling off in Arizona. They got to figure out what to do. Bengals, they don't want to give up without a fight. Joey Burrows is a competitor, and he's got a legacy to hold on to, so he's probably going to be slinging that pill. Hopefully 4+ tutties from that man throwing. Obviously, he's missed a lot of the season with his injury, and he's trying to become a Hall of Famer, I'm pretty sure, even though he says he's not enjoying football. I think that's just a call out to the front office to get an offensive line in the off season. And I looked at the over the cap numbers, and they do have money to spend in this off season, so hopefully they pay some O linemen. I'm going with the Bengals. Just the offensive firepower is too great. I'd probably take the over in this game as well, because both defenses are kind of poo-poos. Next, we've got the Steelers trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, trying to keep those Baltimore Ravens at bay, who picked up a win against the Green Bay Packers. And then we've got the Browns. Myles Garrett trying to break that sack record. I think he's half a sack away from it. So he'll likely get a sack this week. He's got a whole other week to get it, but it would be nice to get it done in 17 games, or at least 16 games plus the bye, just so that you're the undisputed king of that record. So maybe pencil him in for a sack on Aaron Rodgers. I've got the Steelers here though, 3.5 points. They've really been picking up steam lately. I think they're getting stuff figured out at the right time. This is a divisional game, so it's probably going to be a low-scoring affair, but it could also be an absolute blowout. Don't know what more to say here. I think the Steelers' defense is really going to get on Shador, but Shador could have a really good game. He could have a great game. Still got the Steelers here. They've got something to play for. In fact, there was a stat that 60% of the games in which the one team has something to play for and the other team doesn't, 60% of the time the team that doesn't actually covers. And that makes sense because people are competitors. These players are competitors. I'm going to do the wrong thing, and I'm going with the Browns here. I'm going with the numbers. I'm a statistics guy, also a vibes guy, which means I should be going with the Steelers, but let's take the Browns. Let's do it. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jags versus the Indianapolis Colts. Another game in which one team has not much to play for, and one team's fine. One team's fine, actually. They haven't clinched the division, but you know, they're in the playoffs. I'm going with the Jaguars here, 5.5. They also have figured things out. That doesn't mean Phillip Rivers and the Colts hasn't figured something out. I just think one solid hit on Rivers, and he might be out for the game, which means that the Indianapolis Colts won't be able to do anything after that. Just like what happened last week. So I've got the Jags, 5.5. Next, we have the Dolphins hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another game in which one team is vying for something and the other team has nothing to go with. But this time I am going with the Dolphins. Quinn Ewers might show out. I don't know. He might figure things out. These are some really bad picks. I'm actually flipping. I'm flipping both ways on here. I'm going with the Bucs, and I'm going with the Steelers. It's simple as that. It's simple as that, guys. I can't hit 500, so let's just do what we want to do. negative 5.5. The spreadsheet is updated, and you will get the results next week. Now we've got Patriots, Jets. I'm taking the Patriots here. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. We've got the Saints versus the Titans. I'm taking the Titans here just because they do have something to play for. The Saints team could very much win it though. Kellen Moore and well, I can't think of the quarterback's name right now. This is not a very good show tonight. They have been figuring it out though. It's not Hayner. It's not Rattler. It's the other one. I think they can probably win the game though. I do have the Tennessee Titans to cover 2.5. Next we've got the Giants going into the Raiders. We've got the Giants here. I do believe Max Crosby is not going to play. He left the building the other day because they told him he wasn't going to play and he didn't want to be there. Then we have Brock Bowers has been put on IR, as well as I believe one of their safeties, so they're going to be losing some things on the back end and a massive offensive weapon. I've got the Giants 2.5 points here, and we'll move on. We'll move on. That's a game for the number 1 pick in the draft. Good luck to both teams. Then we've got a another a possible Super Bowl preview here. Philadelphia Eagles going into Buffalo to take on the Bills. I've got the Eagles here 1.5 points. This is basically a pick 'em. Look, I think when it comes down to it, Bills have more offensive firepower, but against their defense, the Eagles will easily be able to keep up. I think Saquon has a massive game. If they ever get themselves in a 3rd and long, AJ Brown is going to pick that up for like 20 yards. And the defense is pretty stout. I think the Eagles take this one here. Just gritty football. Just gritty football. Yeah, the Bills defense is a little bit of a worry. It's a little bit of a worry. The Eagles offense has looked like a bit of a worry as of late, but this Bills defense is exploitable. They've taken so many points this season. I'm going with the Eagles. Now, Sunday Night Football, a huge game for both of these teams. We've got the Chicago Bears, who have clinched the division, looking to try and take the number 1 seed overall with this Ben Johnson run team. I do have the Niners here. It's in San Fran. The Chicago Bears defense is exploitable. The San Francisco's defense is better. And sometimes that Bears offense has a little trouble getting rolling, especially against good defenses. So I've got the San Francisco 49ers here. Christian McCaffrey probably has a career day as well, so keep an eye out for that one. And then on Monday Night Football, there is the Los Angeles Rams, also trying to get the number 1 seed. Going into Atlanta, 7.5 points. I'm going with the Rams here. 150 yards for Puka. Can you bet on 200? Don't know. That's the against the spread section. Now we move over to the official start of the betting section. Lines we like. So on the left side, we've got our favorite dogs for the week. That's right. These are the dogs in the game, and I think they can possibly do it. They can win. So let's start off. We've got the Carolina Panthers against the Seattle Seahawks. I know this seems like an uphill battle. I think the Panthers can do it, though. I think they can do it. I'm not going to bark for them, though. Then we've got the Tennessee Titans, somehow dogs against the New Orleans Saints at home in Tennessee as well. They've been eliminated from the playoffs. What am I talking about? What the hell? For some reason I thought the that symbol got it messed up. I think they are one of my favorite dogs this week, actually. Like I've been saying since that game against the Browns, Cam Ward has absolutely started waking up, and on the other side of the Saints, the connection between the quarterback and Chris Olave has been also kind of being ignited. I think the Saints win here. And I don't know why I have the Titans in against the spread. I'm actually changing that to the Saints. We've been really flippy floppy this week, but that's fine. We have a handle on it. Even though I do like the Saints here, Tennessee is a very possible winner of this game. And we've got the Indianapolis Colts against the Jags. This is a divisional game. And Phillip Rivers could be figuring things out. But again, if he gets hit, it could be all over. I do like them here as well. Look for the Jags to turn the ball, to pick up the ball on defense as well. This team has a ton of turnovers picked up. Then we've got the Cleveland Browns trying to play upset ski to the Steelers. I do like them here. I also really don't like them here, so we're going to move on. Las Vegas Raiders could get a win against the New York Giants. I don't really see how, but they could do it. There's absolutely no barking this week on favorite dogs. I don't like any of these dogs that much, except for the Chicago Bears. Yeah, I'll bark for these guys. They can take out the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football. I just think things are favored in the 49ers way a little bit more. Now, if they do get the number 1 seed, I think it is, they can play home games all the way to the Super Bowl. And that's something that is going to motivate them. Remember, they are being led by Mr. Irrelevant, so it's going to be a huge story if they're able to do it. I would like them to. I would like a lot of these teams to win. At least any of the ones in the playoffs. It would be a really good story either way. But the Chicago Bears are my actual favorite dogs this week. Going into San Fran. Now we'll go over to the right side of the screen. These are basic. I've been saying a lot this week. We'll cut that out next week. Episode 20. Now the right side of lines we like. These are simple props that you can put on to build up a nice tasty parlay if you've got one going. These are the lines for the week that we like. We'll go over the overs and unders first. Cardinals Bengals over 53.5. I think so. I very much think so. The Bengals defense is not great. The Cardinals defense is not great. And both of these teams can score over 53.5. Essentially 54 points. I like it. I do. I like it. Next, we've got the Jags at Indianapolis. The over of 48.5 points here. I do like that. I think the Colts can get some points on before Rivers goes out of the game. Hopefully he gets to play the whole game. 48.5 points though. This Jags team can score. They can score. And again, once kind of things turned around towards the end of that Indianapolis game last week, points just got piled on, man. Points just got piled on. I think the Jags can do that too. 48.5 points. I like it. I do like it. Next, we got the Saints at Tennessee. Again, 39.5 points is not much. Both of these teams have figured out how to score in the last few weeks. 39.5 points. Yeah. Over that, I like that. I like it. Next, we've got the Eagles and Bills. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. Because of the Bills' defense being so kind of terrible, I think the Eagles score a lot. And I think Josh Allen has to be Superman here and do his thing. 44.5 points here. I do like that. I like it. Next, we got the Bears and Niners. 52.5 points here. Now, I know that seems like a lot. But again, this game could very much go to overtime, which means both teams could have the chance to score again. Fourth quarters with this Bears team has been absolutely insane. If there is a fourth quarter over bet, you might want to take that. Now, 52.5 points over. I like that. Yeah, I do like it. I like it. Now, finally, usually we've got just regular kind of props here, over-under props for player performances or touchdowns. But this week, with it being the second last week of the season, I have had a look at all of the player incentives that are available, and these are the ones that I do like. Now, Calais Campbell, he needs 2 sacks in the total from these last 2 games to earn $500,000. He's going up against a terrible Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. I think he gets at least 1 sack this week. I think he does, and I think you do as well. Next, we've got Khalil Shakir. He needs to grab a touchdown for 150K. I think Josh Allen gets him that touchdown, if I'm thinking of the right player or the right team. Whoever it is, they're going to get him the touchdown. 150K for 1 tutty. Let's go. It's pay week. Then we've got Rico Dowdle to get a touchdown. If he does get a touchdown this week, he will pick up $250,000. Now, he does need to do it against a tough Seattle Seahawks team. And keep in mind as well, if he gets 70 rush yards, that puts him over his incentive total, and that gets him another $1 million. So, believe that Carolina Panthers are going to try and get Rico Dowdle to push the rock, and he's going to be running hard for that extra payday. Now, remember, he does have 2 weeks to pick up these 70 rush yards, which is kind of super modest. So really, he just needs 35 this week to keep him on track, which is why I've picked up the TD for him. Next, we've got Hunter Henry. I've got him over 4.5 receptions. If he gets 3 receptions this week, he'll pick up $250,000. He picked up a touchdown last week. I think he was part of the passing game a bit more prevalent than he has been throughout the season. Mike Vrabel's a dude. He's going to get this guy his money. And then again, I think if it's another 10 receptions after that, there's another $250K. But this week, I'm expecting he gets 3 receptions and possibly another 2 on top of that. But the over-under for him right now is 4.5 receptions. And I think they use him a bit more. Drake May's getting more comfortable with him too. So, yeah, $250,000 for this man. And then next we've got Cameron Jordan for the Saints. He needs 1 sack to pick up $600K. Oh my god, he's going to be fiending for it. If you know this guy, he is a live wire. He's a talented guy. And he's got some fire in him. So I think he tries to get this sack very hard against Cam Ward this week. Those are ones we like. Do what you will with them. Next up, final part of the show, the traditional betting section. These are the bets that I put on every week. I do a 5-game parlay. This week's 5-game parlay is the Cincinnati Bengals money line. Against the Cardinals. I've got the Jacksonville Jags money line against the Colts. I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers money line against Quinn Ewers and the Miami Dolphins. In Miami, I've got the New Orleans Saints also money line against the Tennessee Titans. I do like Kellen Moore. I like him a lot. He's a bit of a QB whisperer. He's an offensively minded guru. He's figuring out how to get that team points, and they are starting to win games. 5-10 on the season. A lot of people didn't think they were even going to pick up 1 win. Big uptick for this man. Their finances should be looking better in this offseason. We should see a big uptick from the New Orleans Saints next season, and I think they win the game this week. And then I've got the Philadelphia Eagles money line against the Bills. The Eagles are dogs this week. I don't know why I didn't have them as my favorite dogs. But yeah, I think they win this game. Definitely. Like I've given you all of the reasons before. That's the 5-game parlay, everybody. If you like it, roll with it. If you don't, change something. You know? That's just my 5-game parlay. And now it's yours. So do whatever you want with it. Finally, our $1 million parlay. For those of you who are new to the channel, and that's like literally, this is our 100,000 to 1 odd bet, and we basically chuck $10 on there, watch Sunday football, and become a millionaire. Because that's right, on the Shaun Show we want to become a millionaire, and we want to do it the easy way, and this is how we do it. So this week's $1 million parlay: Jackson Smith-Njigba, 150 plus receiving yards against the Carolina Panthers. Calais Campbell, 1 sack to get that money. We got Joe Burrow, 3 passing TDs. We got Trevor Lawrence against the Colts to run one in himself. We got Jackson Dart against the Raiders to do what he loves and rush in touchdowns. We got Saquon Barkley against this shoddy Bills defense, 150 plus rushing yards. I've got Josh Allen against this stout Philadelphia defense with that secondary that is just clutch. I think he's going to have to run the ball. 50 rushing yards. Got Hunter Henry. I've got him on 4 plus receptions here. Again, he only needs 3 to get that money, but I think they give him 4. And then I'm riding high on the connection with Chris Olave in New Orleans Saints. 8 receptions. He picked up 10 last week, and I think he's going to be a big part of this passing offense against the Titans this week. That's the $1 million parlay, guys. That was the Shaun Show as well. Look, if you enjoyed the show, and I'm sure you did, because I enjoyed delivering it to you, hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'll be back next week talking about the final week of regulation football. We'll have our bets. We'll be wrapping up the sim finally, and then we'll be getting our eyes on the future. That's the NFL playoffs, that's right, and the NFL draft. And then we'll look at some other content that we can do. That was the Shaun Show, episode 19. Hit that like, hit that sub. Tell me what bets you're going to do in the comments, actually. I'm looking for some nice, tasty bets. Maybe lines you like. Tell me about them. Maybe feature them on the show next week. Either way, enjoy the football, guys. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. And enjoy the new year, because I'll see you in the new year. 2026. Playoffs gonna be sweet. NFL football.